Good Saturday evening, and thank you so much for joining us for News 19 at 6. I'm Darcy Strickland. We are starting tonight with breaking news at the Columbiana Center, where at least 12 people were injured after a shooting inside the mall this afternoon. We have team coverage on the scene right now. We're going to start our team coverage with News 19's Kaylin Hagwood.
Well, Darcy, just about an hour ago, Chief Holbrook was here briefing the media on what happened, and he says it started around 2 o'clock is when law enforcement was called in because of a shooting inside the mall, as you mentioned. Now, they have been working still and at this point to clear the inside of the mall as they asked employees to shelter in place for fear of what could be happening. They do have 3 people detained. They say they don't believe it was a random shooting, but that the folks knew each other. Those folks are not suspects as they are continuing to investigate. But I want you to hear a little bit from the chief directly.
We still have law enforcement teams inside the mall. We've accounted for everybody that's been injured, and I'll speak to that in just a moment. But the reason we still have teams inside the mall is they're clearing. It's a large mall. We're clearing stores one at a time. We did an initial sweep for injured people that were injured, and we got them with medical personnel and got them transported. We had the individual stores that took immediate security measures and locked their stores down, and we had everybody shelter in place. So we have teams now methodically going through the mall and removing folks that they find that have sheltered in place and moving them to the unification site. We have established a unification site, which is just up the street at Fairfield Inn. That's located at 320 Columbiana Drive. We have a conference room secured there, and we're asking anyone that was separated or might be looking for a loved one or friends, that's where they can report, or they can call there at 803-732-4436. Again, that's 803-732-4436. As law enforcement teams locate people in the mall, that is where they will be taking them for unification, again, with friends and family. What we know currently, and again, I say this is very preliminary, we had 12 injured, no fatalities. I repeat, no fatalities. 10 suffered gunshot wounds, 8 were transported, 2 self-reported to area hospitals. Of the 8 gunshot wounds, 2 are in critical but stable, 6 are stable. We had 2 that were injured during the stampede, non-gunshot wounds, but were injured. And again, we're transported folks to 3 area hospitals, Park Ridge, Richland, and Lexington. We have 3 people detained. What we know is at least 3 people were seen with firearms inside the mall, and at least 1 person fired a weapon. That could change. We're asking anybody with information that may have witnessed, may have video, or has heard something to contact our Criminal Investigations Bureau. That number is 803-545-3525, 803-545-3525. There will be investigators standing by to receive those calls.
Well, of those 12 people who were injured, at least 1 was as young as 15 years old. And as they continue to work through this investigation, they say the information, it doesn't matter how small. There were a lot of folks who were in the mall, and we'll hear a little bit more from witnesses a little bit later in the show. But I can tell you from what we've heard so far, folks say it was very chaotic. It's Easter weekend, so a lot of people were in the mall just taking photos with the Easter Bunny, I'm told, and just looking to find some last-minute items, and it turned very chaotic. But if you have any information and you're able to calm, as the chief said, from the situation that you've experienced, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers, to reach out to the authorities to try to share that information because it can help in this investigation. Darcy?
Kaylin, thank you so much. We are going to continue our team coverage now with News 19's Whitney Sullivan. Whitney, when police received that 911 call, there were thousands of people in the area. As Kaylin just mentioned, you were across the street from the mall. What did you see?
Yeah, Darcy. So I was actually in the movies. I was at AMC Harbison when I received the WLTX alert that a shooting had took place. So the movie ended about 30 to 45 minutes after I received that alert. As soon as I walked outside of the movie theater, and to help, again, provide context, it is directly across the street from the mall. I mean, I could walk to the mall from where this theater is at. As soon as I walked, outside, you can see the area was filled with different law enforcement vehicles. And this has been, from what I saw, the largest response with different multiple agencies in my career as a journalist. I mean, we saw Richland County Sheriff deputies, Columbia Police, SLED. There was a Lexington Medical Ambulance bus. So many different law enforcement entities on the scene. And also, I have to speak to this, the traffic. We already know how Harbison is. It is congested on a normal, regular day, but the traffic was even worse because the entrance to the mall was blocked off. You saw people walking from the mall, and I don't know if they had walked maybe to see or check on loved ones, or they were walking out of the mall just to get out of the area, but traffic was extremely backed up. And I want to really stress, avoid that area if you can, because as we're sitting in traffic trying to leave the area, you also have law enforcement vehicles that are trying to get in. They're trying to get to the scene, and it makes it more difficult for them when they're trying to navigate through all of that traffic. But it definitely was a very chaotic scene. Again, I can't stress enough, law enforcement was on the scene from so many different agencies from across the Midlands, just working to figure out exactly what had happened. So it was not something that I was expecting to see coming out of the movies, especially on Easter weekend. But again, really just seeing a lot of law enforcement on the scene there.
Brittany Sullivan, thank you so much. As we continue our team coverage, Columbia Police said less than an hour ago that for the employees at the mall who were told to shelter in place, they're asking for you to stay in that area until proper authorities give you the all clear. Again, thousands of people in that area when the shooting happened around 2 o'clock this afternoon. News 19's Walker Lawson is continuing our team coverage. Walker, I know you've had an opportunity to speak to people who were in the mall when all of this unfolded.
That's right, Darcy. So I got here around 2:45 this afternoon, and that was the first look that I could see of the mall. Was law enforcement everywhere. People were coming out of the mall, so there was a good amount of people walking around. I went ahead and drove over towards the JCPenney where there were a good amount of people coming out in the Forever 21, and I spoke to some people right after they had left the mall. This is what they had to say.
I just got there about 5 minutes before it happened. My daughter was actually there all day. It was a pretty scary event. It was about 10 shots or so that rang out. Before they were done, I was grabbed her and we were running out the door. When I tell you, people were coming out of every single exit as fast as possible. It was a pretty serious situation.
And as he said, it was quite a serious situation. A lot of people were out looking for their loved ones and kind of trying to get their belongings together. Now, law enforcement, there is still a strong presence here at the mall, and now we're beginning to see some traffic flow on the roadways, but it was quite an eerie feeling getting here today. A lot of people very confused about what was going on and stressed out. So that is what we have here in Columbia. Back to you guys.
Walker Lawson, thank you so much. Walker reporting for us live. As we mentioned moments ago, there were a number of law enforcement agencies that reported to that breaking news, that shooting situation. The Lexington County Sheriff's Department reporting a reunification site is now being set up for those who have family that were involved in the shooting at the mall. They're located at 320 Columbiana Drive. That is the Fairfield Inn. Again, Lexington County Sheriff's Department saying if you are looking for someone that you have not been reunified with, go to the Fairfield Inn on Columbiana Drive. And if you have any information about today's shooting, you've got that number on your screen, 803-545-3525. They are asking you to dial that number if you have any information that can help law enforcement as they continue to investigate. Again, 3 people detained. Columbia Police Chief Skip Holbrook careful not to call them suspects, but this investigation is still in its infancy. Now, the Columbia Center Mall has issued a statement in response to today's shooting, saying, quote, "Today's isolated, senseless act of violence is extremely upsetting, and our thoughts are with everyone impacted. We are grateful for the quick response and continued support of our security team and our partners in law enforcement." We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more on this shooting at Columbiana Center in just a moment. We are now heading back out to Columbiana Center, where 10 people were shot at Columbiana Mall early this afternoon. News 19's Kaylin Hagwood has been there for several hours. Kaylin, I know you had opportunity to speak with a lot of shoppers in that area.
That's right, Darcy. We've been speaking with witnesses, folks who were in the mall, who described what it was like from their perspective. And I'll tell you guys a little bit about what investigators have said. But basically, they were at the mall. It's Easter weekend. It was a lot of people who were there. Some of them tell me that they were hoping to take pictures with the Easter Bunny whenever these shots started to ring out. And then it became very chaotic. They said people began running. They described it as folks being trampled. And the investigators say that of the 12 people who were injured, now 10 were shot, but of the 12 who were injured, some of them were injured from the trampling that happened just within the mall with everything that was going on. They said that it has really just shaken them up. They're working to kind of come down from the experience that they've had. But I want you to hear from one of those shoppers now.
It was just, I don't know. I mean, like, I didn't even feel myself. Adrenaline. It was just adrenaline taking us, out the door. I was just trying to get out, and I just wasn't thinking about anything else other than just getting out safe.
Now, they are asking anyone who was in the mall, and it was a lot of people who were there today, to reach out to the authorities if you have any information that can help. And there's no information that is too small. Just to bring you guys back through what investigators say, they received a call around 2 o'clock about gunshots, and they said that multiple shots were fired. Now, they have 3 people who are detained at this time. They have not called those folks suspects, but they are people of interest in this case. And they say that it's not a random shooting. They believe that the people who are involved knew each other, and that it was some kind of a conflict that led up to the incident that has happened. But again, they're asking anyone with information to please reach out to authorities as they work to piece together this investigation and get all the details that are necessary to make sure that everyone is safe. Darcy?
Kaylin, thank you. Just to recap what you just mentioned, the Columbia Police Department did tweet out less than 3 minutes ago that at this time, Columbia police investigators believe the shooting incident may have stemmed from an isolated conflict between the armed suspects. So it'll be interesting to see how this develops over the next couple of hours as Columbia Police Chief Skip Holbrook describing the folks who were detained earlier today as 3 people who were seen with firearms. So it'll be interesting to see over the next couple of minutes if they go from just being detainees to actually being suspects in this investigation, in this shooting. We're going to continue our team coverage now. News 19's Walker Lawson is standing by now right outside of Columbiana Center.
That's right. That's right, Darcy. I got here around 2:30, 2:45 this afternoon. And once I was able to navigate through traffic, again, I got towards the Forever 21, found some shoppers that were leaving the building, as well as some employees that were grouped together from different shops. And this is what I heard about the experience inside of the mall.
Panic, everybody started running through the mall and stuff. We were still on the floor trying to get our employees to the back of the store. We walked out, but there was still a lot of chaos. The police probably took about 10 to 15 minutes. I think everybody didn't know what was going on. I think people maybe thought it was fireworks and stuff, but there were several people that were down in the hallway about 25 feet up from us.
And just to explain the situation again, a couple other stores had mentioned the loud noises. Of course, everyone heard it. But if you take a look at the roadways now, as we mentioned earlier, everything was closed off. This Columbiana road was shut down earlier, but now traffic is flowing. And even as we started at the top of the show at 6, we've seen more cars going through the area. So it looks like roadways are almost pretty much open here where we are at the Columbiana Mall. Back to you.
Walker Lawson reporting for us live outside of the Columbiana Mall. Stay with us. We've got more after this short break.
We had some rain earlier today that has moved out, but we've kept the cloud cover around. Good evening, I'm News 19 meteorologist Corey Smith. Look at Williams-Brice Stadium, the Garnet and Black game going on tonight. The weather looks at least dry, which is definitely some good news for those that are out this evening. And as you go into your Easter, looking like we should stay dry as well, at least for most of the day. Taking a look at your forecast, 9 a.m., 66 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. We won't be seeing a ton of sunshine tomorrow. Temperature is getting into the middle to upper 70s. So let's break down what you can expect here over the next few days, and then we'll break things down even more from there. But right now, what we're watching is high pressure towards our north and low pressure developing towards our south. That means tomorrow, just mostly cloudy skies before this precipitation starts to work towards the Midlands. But something to keep an eye on is this high pressure. We're going to start to see winds come out of the north and east as we get a little bit later on into Sunday afternoon and evening. And as this rain moves through very late Sunday and into Monday, this is your typical Carolina wedge setup. So we have colder winds moving in from the northeast, and that means a very chilly day for your Monday on top of any rain chances that we see, at least for the first half of the day. This low pressure moves out, and then behind that, it looks like we are going to be sunny through the end of next week. So some very nice weather, I think, making up for that dreary Monday forecast. Let's break things down a little bit closer, though, for what we can expect for the next 24 to 48 hours. Tonight, we'll be seeing mostly cloudy skies, but we do stay dry. Temperatures at this point at 5 a.m. are going to be right in the upper 50s, right around 60 degrees for most of the Midlands. As we get towards midday, already sitting in the middle 70s, and I think we get into the upper 70s in the afternoon. And notice, no rain so far. We do have the chance of maybe some isolated showers starting to pop up around 5 to 6 p.m., but that better chance of rain, that comes a little bit later on in the day as we start to see that low pressure moving in. Notice our winds also coming out of the east and the northeast, and that's going to keep us cold. So this is 1 o'clock in the morning. Temperature is in the lower 60s. That could be our high temperature for Monday. You're going to see that rain continue to move through as you go into Monday afternoon, a very chilly day here across the Midlands. So let's take a look at the 7-day forecast, what we can expect going forward. Well, tomorrow, just mostly cloudy skies, a high of 78. A cold and rainy day on Monday. Behind that, though, plenty of sunshine returning to the forecast.
Corey, thank you so much. We do want to stress again that there is a reunification site set up by law enforcement for those of you who are still looking for loved ones. That reunification site, a live picture of it right now, is the Fairfield Inn that's located at 320 Columbiana Drive. If you have additional information that can help law enforcement with this investigation, no information is too small. They're urging you to contact them at the number on the screen. Many of you were there. Many of you have video of what occurred. They want to see that video. They want to talk to you. The number to call if you have information is 803-545-3525. Again, 803-545-3525. We've had a huge response from viewers who were there, who've contacted us here at WLTX to let us know what they've seen. We're going to continue our team coverage now. News 19's Kaylin Hagwood outside of Columbiana Center with more.
Well, Darcy, we actually just got a statement in from Mayor Daniel Rickenman, who has been on the scene with law enforcement working through the investigation and trying to keep a monitor of this. He says, quote, "Our community is saddened by this senseless shooting and the pain it caused to innocent bystanders. Our focus is on getting them treatment right now and on being supportive of the multiple law enforcement agencies working together to bring these criminals to justice." And again, that was Mayor Daniel Rickenman. A look at what's happening in the mall. Investigators have been working to clear out the mall as they asked employees inside to shelter in place while they work through everything that was going on. There are 3 people who have been detained in connection to this. They are not being called suspects, but rather people of interest as they work to investigate a little bit more of what happened. 12 people were injured, at least 10 were shot, and at least 10 were shot, and we do have a little bit more information on this on our website. Darcy?
Kaylin, thank you so much. Stay with us, folks. We're going to take a quick break. But again, we want to remind you that there is a dedicated phone line for anyone who has seen anything. That number, 803-545-3525. Columbia police are continuing to investigate after 12 people were injured after a shooting at Columbiana Mall. 10 people injured, ranging in age from 73 to 15. News 19 is continuing to follow the story for you, not only on air, but also online at WLTX.com.
Hi. Okay, yeah.
And now still hearing wherever we're.
Yeah, my mic is hot.